3 weather records were broken in Los Angeles today. Find out which ones they are.
DWP is working tonight to restore power to the 2,500 people still without it.
And the Supreme Court hears arguments from the family of a fallen soldier whose funeral was interrupted by protesters.
Annenberg TV News is next.
You're watching USC's first source for news, Annenberg TV News.
Hop open that old umbrella, slip on those rain boots, and watch out for puddles. The Southland's first major rainstorm has arrived. The Southland isn't glistening with its usual sun today. Instead, it's drizzling with rain tonight. Good evening, I'm Robbie Heeger.
And I'm Heather Holm. Weather records were broken again today after a record amount of rainfall. Many were surprised to wake up to rain and wet road conditions this morning after last week's heat wave. ATVN's Maren Austin found out why there's such a drastic change in the weather.
Mother Nature surprised us all today with a few rainstorms. A big difference from last week's 113-degree record-breaking heat.
I'd prefer the rain probably, in terms of if it's 113 degrees, it's a little too hot for me.
While some were pleasantly surprised by the 59-degree day, others are a bit concerned.
The weather is very well. Maybe 2012 will come in now.
The end of the world may not be on its way, but rainstorms and sunshine are both in the forecast. The reason for the drastic changes, both hot and cold air in the atmosphere.
When you have contrasting air masses, you have quite a bit of instability in the atmosphere because you have different, varying degrees of difference in the air masses.
Since last week, the temperature has dropped nearly 60 degrees, and it's raining out here. Los Angelinos only had a week to ditch their sandals and T-shirts for a jacket and an umbrella.
I kind of enjoy the rain because it's a good excuse to stay inside and hang out with some friends.
I like days like this. I think they're pretty and it's nice outside.
The rainy weather may be popular among pedestrians, especially those who are prepared.
These are Vibram shoes, and basically they separate all your toes.
But it was a rough day out there on the roads. SigAlert.com reported dozens of traffic accidents throughout the day, making it a little more difficult than usual for drivers to get from one place to another. And the rain making it a little more challenging for pedestrians to get places too. Maren Austin, ATVN.
Well, today's storm was not only the first of the fall, it also forced meteorologists to edit the record books. For more about the rainfall, let's turn to ATVN's very own Megan Tellis.
And that's absolutely right, Heather. Record rainfall for the date hit parts of LA today. You can take a look in downtown. 0.37 inches fell, beating out, there you go, 0.22 inches of rain recorded in 1916. At LAX, 0.43 inches of rain hit the ground, which beat out the 0.16 inches that fell in 1945. And out by the coast in Long Beach, residents experienced 0.3 inches of rainfall, beating out the 0.02 inches of rain recorded in 1983. Much more on this wacky Wednesday weather later on in the forecast. Robbie and Heather, back to you.
Rainy weather left 60,000 people without power over the last 2 days. Wet weather can conduct electricity, resulting in transformers to catch fire. This was the case in Venice this morning, leaving a block of businesses in the dark for several hours. Store owners in the area have had to work around the inconvenience.
The customers come in, it's dark in here, and they just start going around shopping like it's just normal, and I'd have to tell them that we don't have any electricity.
The first significant rain of the season also causes debris to fall from the trees, landing on power lines and causing power outages. The Department of Water and Power has been out restoring power all today. The outages hit Sawtelle, Crenshaw, Venice, and downtown, as well as Wellington. There are still 2,500 people without power. And 3 tornadoes hit northern Arizona today. 28 cars of a freight train derailed, dozens of windows in homes were smashed, and semis were blown off the highway. 15 homes in Belmont were badly damaged, and an estimated 30 people were evacuated from their homes. Authorities have set up shelters for those evacuated. About 30 RVs were also damaged at a business in Belmont.
For some reason, the lady didn't park her Jeep all the way down. into the parking lot, and the 2 trees landed in between the Jeep and her motorhome, and one of the branches just busted the windshield.
Arizona will remain under a tornado watch. No serious injuries or deaths were reported.
The former Bell city manager is clear to post bail to get out of jail. Former Bell city leader Robert Rizzo was cleared by a judge to be freed by bail. He has not posted bail yet, but could sometime tonight. He was free to post bail after he proved that his funds were not coming from his illegal gains from the city. Rizzo's bail was reduced from $3.2 million to $2 million.
A Utah church and the father of a fallen Marine are squaring off today in the highest court in the land. Lance Corporal Matthew A. Snyder was killed in action in 2006 while on duty in Iraq. At his funeral, a group from a Kansas church protested the war in Afghanistan, saying it's a plan to spread homosexuality. Prosecutors gave opening arguments in the Supreme Court today, saying the protest is not protected by the First Amendment. However, some experts say that the First Amendment was built for situations just like this.
It's easy when you are voicing a popular opinion. The rubber hits the road when somebody is trying to voice a very unpopular opinion or voice that in a very obnoxious way. That's, to me, what the First Amendment was designed to protect.
The original decision ruled in favor of Snyder's family, granting more than $10 million in damages. That decision was then overturned, which led to the current appeal to the Supreme Court.
Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Los Angeles today to discuss Assembly Bill 12, which extends foster care benefits through age 21.
This bill, AB 12, is so important because we take one of the most significant steps yet to ensure that our foster youth thrive and lead productive lives.
The bill allows California to replace the current $52 million spent on foster care with federal funding. Roughly $37 million of the savings will be placed back into the growing foster care system.
If this bill wasn't signed today, there's so many youth who won't be able to go to college, maybe who don't even have jobs in the economy now. Like, they'll be out on the street.
States like Illinois with such programs reported that foster youth are 3 times more likely to enroll in college and 65% less likely to end up in jail.
Well, a new poll conducted by USC's College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences shows Meg Whitman has secured more undecided votes than opponent Jerry Brown. The poll is called USC U Vote 2010. Results show that among registered voters who were undecided just a few months ago, 43% now support Republican candidate Meg Whitman. 32% support Democrat Jerry Brown.
What we found in this most recent poll is that Meg Whitman came out to be more favorable than Jerry Brown, at least amongst the undecided registered voters that we spoke with. In terms of the economy, Meg Whitman had 25% favorability rating than Jerry Brown. Being in a recession, just the word CEO sort of resonates with people.
The poll randomly sampled 286 Californian registered voters from a pool of 1,003 undecided voters.
Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa announced domestic violence partnerships today, a program that joins the LAPD with domestic violence agency groups to effectively end the cycle of violence.
We're certainly looking for the entire community to come together and help victims of domestic violence cope with that, and also to make a statement that domestic violence is not an acceptable behavior.
The program calls for every LAPD division to partner with an advocacy group to provide resources. The goal is to connect victims to services faster and more effectively. In response to Domestic Violence Awareness Month, companies like Verizon Wireless are working to support victims this year. Verizon has donated $400,000 to this cause.
Stocks were mixed today as the Dow rose and the Nasdaq sunk. The Dow hit a 5-month high, climbing 23 points to end at 10,968. The Nasdaq fell 19 points to end at 2,380.
75 people were killed today in Indonesia by devastating mudslides and flash floods. Local relief operators say the town of Wasi was hit the worst. Currently, over 2,000 people are seeking shelter in government relief camps and buildings. What officials are calling an ecological catastrophe hit Hungary today, killing 4 people and injuring hundreds more. Just southwest of Budapest, a sludge reservoir burst, causing toxic sludge flood. 264 gallons of toxic sludge flow through town's police spokeswoman Monica Binney says that a criminal case has been opened, insinuating possible on-the-job carelessness by workers. The flood has killed 4 people and forced hundreds more to evacuate.
Top Afghanistan and Pakistani officials are meeting in Kabul this week. They're trying to find ways to end the now 9-year-old Afghan war and build peace with the Taliban.
There have been approaches made to the various departments of the Afghan government by various group of people and by various individuals claiming that they belong to the Taliban, that they want to come and they want to join the main socio-political stream of the Afghan society, and they want to live in peace.
One Afghan official called the talks a new phase in building bridges and making peace with the Taliban. However, the Afghan education minister says he wants these meetings to be result-oriented. The French government issued a warning today about travel to the United Kingdom. British authorities say a terrorist attack is highly likely and urge citizens to show extreme vigilance when on public transportation or at tourist sites. The warning comes after French police seized 12 people suspected for terrorist ties Tuesday, but it is not clear yet if they are connected to the plot that prompted the warning.
Linguists in India announced that a new language in India has been discovered. The language known as Koro is spoken by only 800 people in the region and mostly used by people over the age of 20. Indian students on campus talked about whether or not the introduction of the new language mattered to them.
Well, I'd say it's a good thing, and it wouldn't hurt because we already have 18 languages, 18 old languages, and it wouldn't hurt to have another one, and adds flavor to the country.
I think in general, for most people, it would probably not be a huge deal because India already has 30-something languages.
Researchers say they uncovered the language while studying other weird languages back in 2008. Their findings will be released in the upcoming version of Indian linguistics.
Well, Alhambra is trying out a trilingual website to reach its diverse community. Hear the response from community members.
Parking at USC is said to be a tight squeeze, literally.
And Facebook announces user-friendly updates today. See what they are. Welcome back. Most news sites publish stories in one language. But the Alhambra source is trying to break that mold by going trilingual. ATVN's Kristen Steach talked to one of the creators about the site and their experiment.
The Alhambra source was unveiled today, not just in one language, but 3. The hyperlocal site is trying to reach all members of its viewing audience by posting content in the city's dominant languages, English, Spanish, and Mandarin. USC journalism professor Michael Parks collaborated with researchers 2 years ago to create the site.
The challenge here was to do journalism in a multi-ethnic, multicultural community, people who really don't have a language in common but have many interests in common.
Alhambra residents will also be submitting their own articles. Joe Song is one of these community contributors.
I've always thought Alhambra was a really vibrant community, lots of diversity, but I never saw much coverage in the papers.
Chamber of Commerce member Tom Shea says he wishes the chamber could have beat the Alhambra source to the punch.
We're the ones that publish the newspaper around Alhambra, but to publish it in 3 languages is mind-boggling. It's beyond comprehension.
Other residents in the community say they are also feeling the effects of this language barrier. Like this bakery owner I talked to, who says even though he's been in the community for 15 years, he still doesn't talk to residents outside his store. Wong Tham is originally from Vietnam, but also understands Mandarin. He told me he would visit the Alhambra source. Resident Grace Guerra also thinks the site is a good idea. Guerra says it's very good for the residents because some people, especially older people, don't speak English, and they can have the news. It's news that many people can now have in their language of choice. Kristen Steach, ATVN.
Well, you can find out more about Alhambra's source online at atvn.org. Just click on Link Up.
Researchers at the USC Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center are receiving a $12 million National Cancer Institute grant. The grant will help lead an international project aimed at finding new biological pathways to development and potential treatment of prostate cancer. The 4-year grant will bring together researchers from 13 institutions across the U.S. and Europe. The second national summit of the National Academy of Engineering, Grand Challenges, is being held on campus today at the Viterbi School of Engineering. The 3-day-long summit is being sponsored by USC, Duke University, Caltech, Olin College, as well as Lockheed Martin. Some of the issues being stressed include the importance of fostering innovation, entrepreneurship, and job creation.
Lockheed hires an extraordinary number of young engineers every year. So to have this kind of interaction with the community is invaluable.
2 days of the summit will include panel presentations by prominent engineers, CEOs, and professors.
Shortly before 8 a.m. this morning, DPS officers were called to a parking structure where a female student found herself in quite a pickle. The unnamed student had mistakenly pressed the accelerator instead of going in reverse, pushing her car through the security cables. The vehicle was found hanging between the 2nd and the 3rd floor, and officials say the car received substantial damage to the windshield and hood. Don't like the look of your California driver's license? Well, a new one is out, and it could be the most secure in the country. The DMV announced today it will be installing a new California license that will have the latest in security technology. Some of the new features of the card are a vertical layout for those under 21, and a raised date of birth and signature that can be felt. The new features are made to protect the card against fraud, tampering, and counterfeiting. Well, Megan Tellis told us a little bit about the temperatures earlier today, and it was just going off the wall, raining, not raining, more rain, less rain, hot, cold. What should we do?
We don't know. It has been really up and down, so let's go over to weather anchor Megan Tellis.
All right, Robbie and Heather, and that is not going to change. We are going to see temperatures increase through the rest of the week, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's take a look at the temperatures outside right now. We have a high of 67 degrees and a low of 62 degrees. Winds are slightly blowing to the east at 9 miles per hour, and the sun is going to rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. If you look at the temperatures across the Southland, we see that Rancho Cucamonga tomorrow is at 64 degrees, LAX at 66, and right here on the USC campus at 71 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look at your 5-day forecast. You can see, like I mentioned, we have 70s, 80s, and 90s through next week. It looks like Sunday is going to be your warmest temperature at 91 degrees. But if you're enjoying this cool temperature and this rain, I'm sorry to tell you, the sun is back in action. Alrighty, it's my favorite time of the week. I'm wondering, are you looking for a spring internship and don't know where to start your search? Well, this week I caught up with the self-proclaimed intern queen, and she wants to help you find your dream internship. And her help is all for you.
I'm the intern queen because I had all of these experiences, and hopefully students can learn something from them.
And her experiences come from her 15 college internships in the entertainment industry. Lauren Berger started her intern queen business in 2008 with one royal mission: to expose students to internship opportunities through her website.
They go through a whole application process where they're filling in all of their important information, copy-pasting their resume into our back end, and then at the bottom they can select which internships they want to apply for.
It's flyers like these and social media networks which have allowed Lauren Berger and her small team to place over 10,000 high school, undergrad, and grad students at internships at 500 companies around the world.
And we're working with a few employers in Canada and in London, which is exciting.
And the 26-year-old entrepreneur and Toluca Lake resident continues to build her business from the ground up.
There's just some days where it's like, wow, I'm traveling around the country doing what I want to do on my terms, and it's a really, really amazing feeling.
Wouldn't that be incredible to every single day wake up and know that you are doing exactly what you want to do?
That sounds amazing. I mean, she's had so many internships, and that's great that she's placing other undergrads and grad students in the same thing.
Helping someone else out.
All right, well, thanks, Megan.
Of course.
Facebook has undergone multiple changes of photos and applications in the past few weeks. Today, its founder announced that many user-friendly features are on the way.
We have a bunch more releases coming out over the next month as we launch some of the stuff that we've been working on.
Team Facebook has been on a 60-day lockdown and released 3 new functions to help give users more site control. Facebook users will be able to download their entire profile, arrange applications, and create new groups. They'll also be able to get all their pictures, messages, and wall posts in one zip file sent to them by email. This new feature has been met with mixed reaction from students.
That would be very convenient because at times I know it's difficult to access pictures off of Facebook. You have to save the picture, etc.
I don't have the desire to have everything in one application. I mean, it's kind of useless in my opinion.
But some are concerned their Facebook privacy is at risk.
Download all of your information into one zip file could be a pretty big problem for people concerned with privacy. I mean, in a computer lab like this, if you leave yourself logged into Facebook and someone's able to click one button and download all of your photos and all of your information at the same time.
He said Facebook will need to set up a firewall system that makes sure only the account holder will be able to download an entire profile. And Facebook's plan with the new group feature is to expand the chat from just one friend to an entire group.
You want to share different things with different sets of people, right? I mean, some posts that you want to share are for your work friends, some are...
The 3 new Facebook features are expected to be available for users later this month. I can wait to go to a Laker game this year.
Well, me either. I've never been to a Laker game, and the season is so close, but so far away. Let's check in with our sports anchor, Whitney Blaine, for more on what's going on in sports. Whitney?
Thanks, Heather and Robbie. Next on sports, we take a look at the NBA season and why some general managers think they know next year's winner. Also, we look at the first day of the baseball's postseason as Roy Halladay makes quite the splash. And finally, we talk to the women's volleyball team about their first loss of the season. All this and next on sports. And the road to the 2010 World Series begins today, and the season of the pitcher continues heading into the postseason. Roy Halladay made his grand postseason debut today as he had a no-hitter for the Phillies, beating the Cincinnati Reds 4-0. Cliff Lee also took the mound in style, striking out 10 en route to the Rangers' 5-1 win over the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees-Twin game is going on right now, and it's the bottom of the third, and the Twins are up 2-0 on the Yanks. The Trojans are back to work to prepare for Stanford. We stopped by today's practice to check out the latest developments. Running back Mark Tyler had the majority of handoffs in the beginning of practice and could be the Trojans' preferred back against Stanford. Quarterback Matt Barkley made a couple short passes as the team emphasized a running offense. Coach Kiffin even ran a few plays in the Wildcat, with Mark Tyler taking snaps from center. As the women of Troy split their weekend up in Washington, losing to Washington and beating Washington State, ATVN's Josephine Lee talked with the volleyball team about how they plan to face NorCal.
The women of Troy are kicking it up a notch in practice this week after suffering their first loss of the season.
We've picked up our intensity, and the coaches have as well, and I think it's good that we all know that we can lose if we don't work as hard as we can.
And for the Trojans, a loss against Washington may have prepared them for 2 tough Pac-10 matchups this weekend.
I think the loss will help us because it's going to make us want to win much more, and it's going to drive us to be better in practice and know that every single ball counts during practice and during a game.
Also, kind of positive that it happened that early in the season because we get to learn that lesson that early. We get to grow from that a little sooner than expected, I guess.
Coming into this weekend, we are going to want a rematch. We want to win. We don't want to lose at home. And playing Stanford and Berkeley, the two really good teams who are undefeated right now, is just going to be really good for us because we're going to want to go out and kick butt.
And after being on the road, the players say they're happy to be back playing in front of their home crowd.
We're all proud to just play in front of our parents and our crowd and feel so supported, you know.
We have great fans who are really loud, and usually we feed off that energy. And being at home with the home court advantage and not having to travel a lot and being tired and whatnot will help a lot too.
The USC volleyball team will be playing top-ranked Stanford at home Friday at 7 o'clock.
After Stanford, the women of Troy play Cal on Saturday. Stanford, Cal, and USC are all ranked in the top 10. According to the fortune tellers of the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers will be three-peating in 2011. 63% of the 28 general managers surveyed by the NBA.com predicted the Lakers will win again in 2011. 33% said it would be the Miami Heat, and just 4% believed Boston would win their 18th title next June. So every week I'll be talking to a player to find out a little more about who they are off the field. Today we talk with freshman goalie Shelby Church, who has recorded 41 saves in the Trojans' first 11 games of the season.
You're a freshman on the women's soccer team. Big shoes to fill. You're a goalie. That's a leadership position all on its own. What's it like?
At first it was a little intimidating, but I really like the team and I really like the girls, and they've been really supportive.
So you guys have played San Diego twice, and it's the only 2 losses you've had of the season. Yeah. Tell me about that.
Really frustrating. I feel like we definitely deserve to win at both times, but just got to learn from it and get better.
After Stanford Friday, the women of Troy will play the Cal Bears Sunday at McAllister Field. Today was the final day of the Island Felt Invitational, and the women's golf team came up just short of the title. The Cal Bears took first place, but the junior Lisa McCloskey and the Trojans finished in a close second. McCloskey's 8-under par day set a school record for a single round. The women of Troy set a record for best combined round as well. Washington came in a distant third, while Pepperdine and Stanford tied for 4th place in the tournament. USC actually beat the Huskies in something. What do you think about
Would
that?
you look at that? That's wonderful. And Roy Halladay with the no-hitter? Oh, my goodness.
What a
day in
dancing.
sports.
I enjoyed that freshman profile.
Great minds think alike.
Thanks, Whitney. Thanks, everybody else, as well, for watching Annenberg TV News. For everyone here at ATVN, I'm Robbie Heger.
Watch us online. Good night.
We're like...
Watch us online. Can we say your name?